about the issues.
No, that's okay. We're doing what we can.
It's time to start the stream again. Let's hope that the stream starts again. Could it possibly start again?
Is this our anime theme song? John says it's back up.
The internet can totally see you now. You are alive.
Yay! Welcome back. Oh,
yay! We are back.
Hopefully everyone will jump back in here. I have, in fact, unchecked the enable DVR button.
Okay, excellent.
We'll be able to see back up to 4 hours while you are streaming. Okay, yeah. So they won't be able to go back to the beginning right now, but they can later. And we'll look at that at a later date.
I think that will be fine.
And while this happens, I am going to share this link with myself.
It's all fun and games to start sharing links with yourself.
Oh, bye.
Oh,
but what you do on your alone time is none of my business.
Technically, I'm alone in like no sense right now.
Yeah, that's true. She's really not.
I'm not alone because you guys are in my virtual video chat.
Welcome back, everybody. And Media, it seems like that we have finally found something, that we don't have in common, because I hate English dubbing. I am a much bigger fan of subtitles. Much bigger fan. Primarily because even in animated series, I feel like the actors that they choose to do the English dubbed versions of these are just always like the worst possible choices.
Well, it depends. Mm-hmm. Like me personally, it depends on I can't watch Naruto dubbed. I think the dubbing, they did a horrible job. But yeah. I can watch Yu Yu Hakusho dubbed. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is like one of those rare cases where the dub actually feels more legit than the actual original dialect. I guess
it does just depend. I guess I just have not seen, so far in my life, I have found very few excellent dubs. You know, I think that's been my problem.
Well, and I don't know. There are some of them that are like still not the greatest in the world. One example being Tenchi Muyo and all of its subsequent entities. Like, it wasn't the greatest dub in the world, but I actually enjoy watching the dub. Like, I'll watch either the dub or the sub. I'll kind of go back and forth. But I thought that they had really good voice actors for almost all of the characters in that series. Same goes for Inuyasha. I like the voice cast. I had a lot of problems with the Sailor Moon voice cast. Although I'm going to say the redone dub that is now available on Hulu for Sailor Moon, the original series, is just weird. Like, it sounds like it's 3 women and that's it. And they're all like
that is true.
Barely changing their voices between characters. So I just don't and just hearing them all of a sudden say, "Usagi, it's time for breakfast." Like, oh, that just sounds odd. No, I know I said I hated the English dub, but let's go back to, let's just call her Serena. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
It just sounds so odd. For Molly, I suppose Molly does know the difference between dubs and subs.
I do. That is not something I need explained to me, yes. Because, because I watch a lot of foreign films, and I've seen some subtitled foreign films, and I've seen some dubbed foreign films, and I just absolutely, for the most part, cannot stand dubbing in any capacity. It is, I think, a little bit easier to swallow with animated films. But sometimes you will get those just utterly terrible dubs. So I completely agree with that. And yeah, I agree actually with what Xerxes just said. I do prefer the original, and Black Butler is one of the only anime series I've watched from start to finish. And I actually appreciated the English dub a little bit more than I thought that I would, but I absolutely, if given the choice, would always go for the original language and the original voices.
Well, me coming from pre-internet anime, fandom, I appreciate it dub because, back in the days, I had to beg my mom to go to Little Tokyo just so I could get a copy of Dragon Ball Z. on VHS,
Oh.
hoping it had subtitles. And even if it didn't, I found a way to still enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, and I was just asking John, because John mentioned Vampire Hunter D, which Vampire Hunter D is an excellent dub, but I remembered watching Vampire Hunter D with subtitles way, way back in the day. And I have been told many times since then that the film was never actually released in America with its original Japanese language and with subtitles. So either I'm remembering it wrong or everyone else is wrong. I'm inclined to believe the former. But was it ever actually available without dubbing? Because I remembered watching a subtitled version of Vampire Hunter D, but then everyone keeps telling me that could never happen.
They had like a couple variations of it, of Vampire Hunter D, like a couple remakes.
Two of them, you could get them on VHS. With either subtitles or the dubs.
Okay, so then I was not wrong. I did watch a dubbed version of that film. A subtitled version of the film then, probably. Because that was my memory of it, was being subtitled. And I love it. I absolutely love Vampire Hunter D.
And you just wanted to make sure this wasn't an implanted memory?
Yeah, well, because, sometimes I'm old. I remember things wrong.
Then you should watch Hellsing, then.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Hellsing as well. Is that another one with a good with subtitles or with a good dub?
I've never actually seen any of Van Helsing. I'm trying to.
I think it's just called Hellsing, right?
Yeah, just go for Hellsing Ultimate. That's actually, I believe, is the better of the two.
Okay. But yeah, dubbing.
Yeah.
What else have I?
Hi, Black Cat. Welcome.
Cat, you were supposed to talk about Fuliculi.
There's too many.
Oh yes, Fuliculi.
Or possibly just the right amount of cats. Yes, let's talk about Furikuri. Also called FLCL, but pronounced Furikuri as in Fooly Cooley.
Furikuri
is both foolish and cool at the same time. And this is another one of those shows with alien women dropping out of the sky, and in this case, she dropped down on a Vespa, which was like one of the most perfect parts of the show. Like she has a number of magical items, Siege, help me out.
Yeah.
Is it Haruko?
Haruko.
I believe that was her name.
Yeah.
And she's probably like 19, 20, 21, totally doesn't give a fuck about anything. Real tough, not afraid to get in a physical fist fight. Not afraid to, flirt really ridiculously with, how old is the little boy? Like 11, maybe 12?
Yeah, because I know he has his big brother in the U.S. playing professional baseball.
Yep.
So
but
I think he was like
after that older brother's girlfriend, who is also too old for him. But this whole series, like as short as it is, the whole thing is just about like adolescent sexuality and like learning to be comfortable in your own body, and it gets a little bit literal about that because robots start like sprouting forth from the boy's head, and I'm actually gonna have to look up the boy's name because I cannot remember it for the life of me. Of course, all I remember is Haruko, Haruko Haruha. Boy.
Fuliculi, right?
Naoto Nandaba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I don't know what they would have called him in the English dub. It was probably like Naota. Naota, come over here.
Naota.
And then so Naota's older brother, his girlfriend's name is Mamimi, and she is like pouty-lipped, juvenile delinquent arsonist who's constantly smoking cigarettes, skipping school, playing this little video game. I don't remember what it's called, but it's something like Firestarter or something like that, where you basically have to burn down all the buildings in the town, and that's the game that she's playing. This show just has so much wrong with it. But it's so good. It's so good. Like, it's I am interested to see if you would enjoy watching it, Molly. When I get back, maybe we'll watch an episode and we'll see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got a pretty, like, a growing list of shows that I really want to watch. The first being JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. That's been recommended to me so many times. That
because it also has Persona powers, so just a heads up on that.
Oh, nice. Well, I love that. I love that concept. I'm a huge fan of, like, you know, the inner self personified. Like, I'm a huge fan of that. So, but I have heard that JoJo's Bizarre Adventures is one that I need to check out. So that's very high up on the list. John and I are still getting through Sword Art Online. And I just started watching the Netflix Castlevania anime, which I have just been absolutely in love with. So, but I promise that Fooly Cooly will definitely be added to that list and be bumped up pretty high on it because it sounds really interesting.
Well, yeah, you have my Ver account, so
because it's like 8 episodes, maybe that.
Yeah, I think 68.
It's probably only like 4 episodes. The music in it is really cool too. Like it's like really neat Japanese rock. The closing sequence that happens every episode is very enjoyable to listen to. That's another thing that we can touch on, the opening and closing sequences of anime. It's similar to kind of what we talked about when we were talking about the tunes of our youth. You know, half the reason you watch the show is to watch the theme song.
Right.
Generally speaking, at least with every anime that I've ever seen, there is always an opening sequence accompanied by a song. I've seen very few that were just instrumental. It's almost always it has lyrics to it. And that's how I learned a lot of my early Japanese was from looking up the lyrics to anime songs.
Right.
And like just picking out words here and there, and also kind of getting my pronunciation down a little bit better.
John just dumped 5 pounds of manga into my lap. I'm so sorry. He just brought me literally every manga that he owns and was just like, "Here, Molly."
Good job, John.
Good job, John. Siege says.
Good man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So, Kat, what would you say is your favorite anime opening or closing theme?
Hello, Aaron. Welcome to the live stream. How are you?
Which Aaron is it?
Aaron W.
I don't know that I've encountered
He's
Aaron.
Hey, Ron.
Aaron, and I am glad that you get to.
He is Domi's
does he hang out over
moderator.
In stream?
Yeah.
Well, hey, Aaron. I have actually encountered you before. Welcome to the stream.
Oh, you're more than decent. More than decent. You're a fantastic Aaron. AA Ron.
So Siege, if I haven't mentioned this one yet, but there's another magical girl series called Saint Tail or Kaito Saint Tail. Kaito just means thief, I believe. And what I always really loved about I'll just quickly say what I loved about that show. I liked that it was a magical girl show. I can't remember if I encountered the show or the manga first. I feel like it was the manga first. But it's a magical girl series, but it is like vaguely set in the realm of reality. Like there's no actual magic that she uses. This girl, I believe her name is Mamie. It's been a little while since I've watched. Is it Mamie? Megumi. There we go. Nope, that's a lie. That's the name of her creator. Anyway, yes, Mamie Haruka. Her parents her mother is a former thief. Like she was a jewel thief, like, and not steal from the rich, give to the poor kind. Like she was a bad thief. Mamie's father is a magician. And when they met, when her parents met, like, her mom was, like, stumbling into his room or something because she was trying to get away from the cops, and she was injured, and, like, her dad nurses this jewel thief back to health, and she's being, like, really sourpussy to him the whole time. And eventually
very tsundere.
He starts doing, good night, Black Cat, thanks for popping in for a minute.
Night, Black.
Good night, BC. Thanks for stopping by.
Eventually he starts doing little magic tricks for her, and he's always just like filling the room with flowers with these magic tricks, and eventually she turns soft and she falls in love with him. And the product of this former thief turned she went for the straight life and became a housewife. But she loves it, so that's okay. And the thief turned housewife and the father magician gave birth to Mamie, and she takes these talents that she's inherited from both of her parents and creates this persona, Kaito Saint Tail, the thief. But she's a good thief that only steal things that have been wrongly taken from people, and she returns them to their rightful owners.
Oh, cool. She's like Robin Hood, sort of.
Yeah, she is. And so, like, her thievery skills, you know, she's a very great gymnast, like most superhero magical girls need to be.
Yeah.
And so she's a very talented gymnast. And, you know, she's very good with sleight of hand. Got that from Magician Father. And she combines these. And her little magical girl outfit is really cute. It's like a little tuxedo, like with a skirt, but also with tux tails on the back, and long black gloves. And she looks like she is, performing in a magic show. And whenever she, goes into like, oh, it's time to make the transformation and go to work, she says a little prayer with her best friend, who is a nun in training, which is also super cute. And she's the only one who knows her secret. So every time, it's time to go to work, she'll go to the confessional and she prays with her best friend, the nun in training, and basically asks God for forgiveness for stealing things. And also as, kind of a prayer of protection, so that she can do her job without getting hurt and get things back to their rightful owners. And whenever she dons this thief magician outfit, she also ties up her very long hair in a ponytail, hence the Saint Tail. And this is also the first time like I saw a magical girl whose hairstyle changed when she made her transformation into the superhero persona. And I was like, well, at least now it's not like everybody and their mother is like, they have the exact same hair. How can they not be the same person? And her main antagonist, even though he's technically speaking a friendly antagonist, is this boy in her class who is the son of a police department detective, and he has been deputized by the mayor, the son has, to go and capture Saint Tail, because even though she steals back things and gives them back to their rightful owners, she is a vigilante. So let's see if I can remember. Asuka Jr., that's his name, which in Japanese of course sounds like Asuka Jr.
Nice.
And so he's like the Harvey Dent to Mamie's Batman, except Mamie's superhero persona is far less dark. So yeah, that's Saint Tail, and I know that was like a really long hashtag story octopus.
Story octopus.
I really, really love the opening sequence and the theme song to Saint Tail. It also has a really good ending theme. They also, I think, switch up the ending theme in the 2nd or 3rd season, but that's also really good. Don't remember if Inuyasha had an opening theme that I remember specifically.
It was a very feudal instrumental.
Yeah. Oh,
But they had a lot of good ending themes though.
yeah. Tenchi Muyo also had a bunch of really good themes. There was one by this band. It was called Sonya, I think. And I still to this day have not figured out whether this was a Japanese band or whether it was an American band that was singing in Japanese. But and I believe it was for Tenchi Universe, which I think was maybe the 2nd or 3rd series in the Tenchi Muyo universe. And that had a really super catchy theme song, very I don't know. It almost had like an 80s cop movie vibe to it. I don't know why that's what's in my heart when I think of it. But the lyrics are really like gritty, and I love the vocalist. Let me see if I can remember it.
Sonya Wonderland.
Gonna hurt you. I can't remember the whole thing, but it sounds really good in both English, and it was the same band who did the English opening song and the Japanese version of it. So I don't know which one came first, but they both sound really, really good. Yeah.
Well, so what about
Siege? Did you have anime soundtrack CDs when you
all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys there in the chat ever have?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask Siege like what his favorite was, because I'd be interested to hear.
Mine is actually real simple. It is Evangelion, the very first series, Cruel Angel Thesis.
You know what's funny is that Evangelion is a series that I've never seen, but I've always absolutely worshipped that title. Hey, Timothy. How's it going?
Hello.
Podcast. Yeah, I've just always loved the word Evangelion.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's really cool. So
what else would be the ending of Rurouni Kenshin by TM Revolution, Hearts of Swords? Is another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could go on forever, but those are like 2 of them.
And I don't know, but you said it was simple, and I'm glad that you can give a simple answer, because I cannot.
Yeah.
Kat, your inability to provide simple answers is one of the things that we all love.
Oh, Kat likes to be detailed.
Yes, very thorough in her answers.
When we're audio only, like I feel the urge. I feel the urge to.
I totally understand.
Talk about or to paint a picture. Paint a picture with words.
And see, unfortunately, I don't have an answer because I don't know any anime series well enough. I know some video games that have theme songs in the style that I have heard in different anime series that I really loved. Like, again, I reference Persona 5 because I think it has one of the best soundtracks of any video game that I've ever played.
It does.
And it definitely has a theme that could rival most anime series themes, I think. Would you agree, Siege?
It has a electric jazz theme that I love. And
yeah, it's
I love
like Japanese acid jazz, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, there you go.
That might actually be the best. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly.
It is.
That's
it is
exactly
so
what
good.
it is.
Acid jazz.
It is so good. But then I also really like. Again, this is a video game, and I'm sorry that it's not the same thing, but it's just it's the only knowledge that I really have to draw from. But I'm a huge fan of Simple and Clean, which is the Kingdom Hearts theme. One of several Kingdom Hearts themes. Again, a game, but I absolutely love it, and it definitely again sounds to me when I hear it very much like it could just easily overlay any anime series in the world and fit, you know. But I'm a huge fan of Simple and Clean. So yeah.
Yeah, not Akira. You try to play simple clean on a Akira AMV. It is so gonna look awkward.
Yeah.
Because anything but Akira's anything but simple or clean.
Right. Media says Mega Man, Rockman music, and Xerxes says Sonochi no Sadame from JoJo for the win.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I've
here's the
heard
thing
that JoJo
about
has great
JoJo Bizarre Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the ending credits are actually real 80s songs.
Oh, yeah. See, I've
Like,
heard really great things about the music of JoJo.
Yeah, like season 3. Guess what the ending theme song in season 3 of JoJo is?
I don't know. Love is a Battlefield.
Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bengals.
Damn it. Wouldn't it have been amazing if I had been right? Walk Like an Egyptian. That's awesome, though. That's great.
Yep.
The first
Yeah,
one
the first one is Roundabout. Yep.
Nice. But yeah, so yay. And Kat also... Oh, go ahead. What?
No, you go ahead.
Well, no, I'm looking at your notes here for the podcast tonight, and I noticed that I'm very curious about something, not to change, not to shift gears away from the music.
Just about to bring it up, so I want to see what you are bringing up.
Well,
from
because
my notes.
Under here it says general history of anime, and you put Betty Boop. And I am just really curious to hear the connection, to hear the parallel there, because again, I'm a nub. I don't know anything, and I would like.
Would you want to explain this, Kat?
I was actually gonna hand it off to you, Siege.
Okay.
I'll probably hop in here and there, but go ahead.
I'll give the simple of it. Thing about anime is it was heavily influenced by American cartoons back in the days. That explains why a lot of anime characters have big eyes and little mouths. They basically took it out of the influence of like Betty Boop.
So like
wow.
early 20th century.
Yeah.
So that's a direct influence then. Betty Boop was a direct influence on the art style.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I never knew that. Yeah. John didn't know that either. That's really cool.
Well, and if you look at like the very first bits of Japanese animation coming out, they do almost have that kind of like Steamboat Mickey look to them. Like they have kind of a bouncy motion to them. They have like you can see the influence of animation style, like in the way that characters like, let's say they're blinking multiple times in a row to like, did I just really see that? Blink, 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 blink.
Yeah.
Astro Boy.
And
welcome back, Aaron.
Astro Boy is a perfect example. And the over exaggerated reactions and emotions that we see in anime. You can look back at early 20th century Western cartoons and see a lot of that, with like eyes getting really big and mouths, dropping in a very stylized way, in the way that people are crying. And when animation was first kind of becoming a thing, it would make sense that all of everyone's emotions and reactions would be extra big to play to the last person in the row, because you were playing these on screens. If they were a big theater screen, the quality of resolution wasn't that great. So you had to make all of these reactions larger than life.
Yeah,
I've always been a huge fan of that in Western cartoons because it's the Disney princess face, or the Disney princess eyes is what I've started to refer to. They grow to like, or Steven Universe. They do that a lot in Steven Universe. Huge fan. And Adventure Time. I've always really loved that. I don't know if you would call it a trope, but I'm a huge fan of it.
Of just like the eyes getting big, or
just the face kind of. I don't really like one of my, and I also noticed that this was also on your notes. I'm not really a fan of the chibi-ization of characters that otherwise, but I really do like the transformation of the face where the eyes get huge and the mouth gets small and everything is sort of like, I really love that in moments of like extreme emotion. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that. Like, it's sparingly, but I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
And yes, media, that's what Kat was talking about. Apparently Betty Boop directly influenced that style of drawing in anime. I don't know about the chibi. I guess it is. Yeah, chibi. That's what it would be called.
Yeah.
Well, and especially where everything is kind of rounded and like, not pudgy exactly, but like pleasantly plump. Everything's pleasantly plump, just like Betty was.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Astro Boy, Siege, and I was gonna bring up some of the other early ones. One of them was Sally the Witch.
Yes.
She was probably like the first magical girl, and may technically be in the category of shoujo. And actually, that was kind of where I was headed next.
Yeah, shoujo is young girls, Molly.
Yeah.
Shoujo young girl. Okay.
Is a genre.
Okay.
Pertaining to young girls for the young girl audience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, John was kind of giving me a crash course before we started on terms like seinen.
Seinen is for Shonen is young boys. Seinen is for young adults. Basically, they're more violent than like shonen or shoujo. Okay. Then of course hentai.
Right.
Let's not jump all the way into hentai because this is also a subgenre of anime that is referred to as ecchi, which basically just means perverted. And those are...
Does hentai mean perverted as well?
Ecchi is more like lewd.
It's more like lewd than...
Okay.
Yeah.
Hentai is direct translation is pervert.
Yeah. I was gonna say ecchi is like a little more softcore, where hentai is like, nope, that's porn.
Yeah.
That is straight up porn. Where ecchi is more like fan service all over the place.
It's like ecchi's more like watching the Spice Channel, where hentai is actually going to the video store and buying a DVD.
Yeah.
But well, so then what would be? Okay, this is probably going to be like the dumbest question of the night, and I'm sorry, but I'm curious because of these different genres for anime, and I find it really interesting because I think there's probably a little bit from every genre that I have personally taken an interest in. But then, like, when I think about my favorite full-length feature anime films, not series, that I absolutely loved, A, do these genres apply to those as well? And B, what would you classify Studio Ghibli as?
They're, for my simplest definition, I would consider them Japanese Disney.
That's actually probably pretty
fair. Accurate. That's fair.
I think technically you could still call it anime, even though it's not syndicated television.
So that's what makes anime then, is for it to be.
In its broadest sense, anime is animation coming out of Japan. When most people hear it, they probably think of an animation series rather than movies. And of course, there are movies that are that come out of anime series, but I would say that it refers to any Japanese animation.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it would be fair to call the Studio Ghibli films anime, but they wouldn't necessarily be the first thing that comes to someone's mind when you say anime, because that's what I think.
In Western world.
I would say it depends on perspective, because a lot of Studio Ghibli animations are heavily influenced by the 80s style of anime, as in like Robotech and Voltron, as as influence. As you look at their artwork is very 80s like anime.
Right. And I've always been a huge fan of that art style.
Yeah.
And I also really like a lot of the stories that Studio Ghibli has told. So that's why I was just wondering, because you guys are talking about all of these different genres, these subgenres, and I find subgenre-ing, if that can be a verb today, I find subgenre-ing very fascinating in general. And especially something as kind of vast and varied as anime, of course there would be subgenres. Given that most of my knowledge, personal practical knowledge, has been with things like the films from Studio Ghibli, I was just really curious about that.
The thing about the subgenres is it keeps on expanding. Like right now, I believe the main trend of like anime / manga is Western style superheroes now.
Which makes sense, I suppose.
Before that it was internet or like MMO type game anime series.
Yeah.
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 Oh, well, right, like Sword Art Online, Dot Hack, that kind of stuff, right?
Log Horizon. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Sword Art Online. What we've seen of it, I've really enjoyed it. And I think that's a very cool genre. I don't know, I like that. But anyway, I'm sorry, Kat. What were you going to say?
I don't even remember. We've gone so. I think I was just talking more about genres, action, adventure. Those are two big ones, and then of course these can get layered over top of each other, which seems to happen quite a bit. I haven't seen a whole lot of anime that has like just one genre. There's a lot of crossover. Slice of life is another really big one, and that's really popular in manga as well. Where it's usually, the story of junior high students or high school students, and it's just their everyday lives. It usually involves them having a crush on somebody, and the whole story arc of whether or not they get together with them, or if they get together with the person that they've been friends with their whole life, but never thought of in that way, but then suddenly did.
And a whole bunch of tomfoolery in between those. So.
Oh yes, there must be tomfoolery and problems with grades, and in the more shoujo ones, the ones that are aimed at young girls, I actually see like a whole lot of like, oh yeah, no, let's go on diets this over Christmas break together, between best friends because they need to lose, I don't know, 8 kilograms.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that like quite so with my nose up in the air, but and then of course alongside action adventure, there's fantasy, magic, supernatural, horror, and those kind of can layer over top of each other.
Like Survivor games and mecha animes, magical girls.
Yep. And so you've got like your more overarching like feel, and then you've got and I would call that more genres, and then you've got the subgenres, which is more like specific content.
Right.
And so within those specific content genres, you have like martial arts and whatever you would call what would you call it, Siege? I usually just call them battle anime, and that's like Pokemon, Battleman, Beyblade, Digimon. Like anytime there's
like Yu-Gi-Oh
combat.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh. I call them arena tournament animes or something along those lines.
Because when I think of the series that I've seen the least.
Yeah.
Because when I think of battle anime, I think of like Dragon Ball Z, basically shonen style animes that are like usually huge.
Yeah, it's so interesting because those are the animes, again, like when I think about the TV series, these are all animes that I've very rarely seen, but all you have to do is just describe a little bit of them and I can picture them all in my head. They're so ubiquitous, I think. It's sort of inescapable almost among anime crowds.
Wait, so what is ubiquitous? Like the specific
content? Ubiquitous is essentially like something that is kind of everywhere all the time.
Yeah. But what specifically were you calling ubiquitous?
Oh, the sort of arena type anime that you guys were talking about. Things like Dragon Ball Z and well, I don't know if I don't actually know the story of Yu-Gi-Oh, but like shows like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh, Inuyasha, all of these shows are what come into my head when people talk about anime, and they're all series that I've barely seen.
You play Magic the Gathering, Molly?
I did play Magic the Gathering the whole time.
Yeah, that's basically what Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of Magic the Gathering people are going to be insulted by it, but yeah, I'm going to stick to it.
It's funny that you say that because I had what for me was one of the more surreal experiences, which by the way, I'm hearing an echo. But one of the most surreal experiences of my life was when I was going to a Barnes & Noble when I was like maybe 21 or 22. I was on my way to Barnes & Noble to stop by the cafe and just browse around and stuff before I went someplace else. And I was going through the cafe. The cafe is important because I saw this little boy. He was probably like 7, no older than 8, getting out of his parents' car. in a 3-piece suit with a briefcase.
Like you do.
Like you do. I'm still getting a really bad echo, by the way. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know. But and it's really, really bad. Siege, is that from you? Are you listening to the podcast right now?
No, it's on mute.
Oh, I don't hear it anymore. Okay, I'm sorry. It was freaking me out. But so this little boy gets out of his parents' car in a 3-piece suit and with a briefcase, and he walks into the Barnes & Noble cafe. And he was originally behind me when we were walking, but I stopped to let him ahead of me, and I was just watching.
Oh, shit. That's my bad. I was trying to say hi to Matt.
It's okay. Hi, Matt. You didn't miss the tentacle talk. No, you're fine.
What have you done?
But so he goes into the cafe, and I walk in a short distance behind him, and he walks immediately over to a table with about another 5 or 6 little boys around the age of 7, all wearing 3-piece suits, all with briefcases. And the briefcases contain within them a crap ton of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, I guess there was like a Yu-Gi-Oh card game.
Many.
Yeah.
And they were so into it. And I grew up going to Magic the Gathering tournaments. Now, I wasn't participating in them. My uncle was a competitive Magic the Gathering player. That's how I learned to play, was from him. But I would go with him to tournaments sometimes. And these 7-year-old kids were just as into their Yu-Gi-Oh cards as my uncle and his 30-plus-year-old friends were into Magic the Gathering tournaments that were for thousands of dollars. These kids took it so seriously. It was really surreal. And I ended up just sitting there drinking my coffee. I mean, their parents probably thought I was a creep or something, because I sat there and just stared at them for 25, 30 minutes watching them play Yu-Gi-Oh. They were so into it. I'm like, man, this is bizarre. But it was like watching a Magic the Gathering tournament, but with, 7-year-olds and Yu-Gi-Oh. But yeah, so that's my Yu-Gi-Oh story. I never got over it. I still think about it. It's been 12 years, and I still think about how seriously they took that stuff. It was intense.
That was a really good story.
Yeah.
What? Oh my god! I just totally lost what I was saying. Just the fact that Japan has its own version of, make the cartoon so that the kids buy the stuff. It makes me feel closer to them. Because what did we have? We had He-Man, My Little Pony, Strawberry Shortcake,
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, Transformers, all of those shows. And then Japan comes around, and what do they have? Pokemon, Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes.
And there's, 20 others. And of course, all the other shows, and this is something that I will eventually get back into. Sailor Moon had fucking tons of merchandise. So
endless merchandise.
Every season, she gets a new wand or a new brooch. I'm like, yep, gotta have that.
Yep.
We get that with MLP, so I totally get it.
She don't use this anymore.
What's that?
Toss it aside. She don't use the wand anymore. Toss it aside. Get the new wand.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't toss it aside. It would get its own spot on the shelf.
Yep.
Now, of course, most of the stuff that I have now,
Yeah.
I think I have maybe one piece that was made in Japan, and the rest of it is just stupid American Bandai bullshit. Once you get it, you're like, ugh, did I really pay money for this? I mean,
oh God, do not even.
You wanted it because you wanted to feed the obsession.
Mm-hmm. That's what the little mystery My Little Ponies have done to me, because they're all translucent and glittery, and they don't even look like the ponies, but I'll buy them. I'll buy every single one that I see, and I'm like, why did I do this?
I've gotten a few of those for you too, I think.
You have? No, we've gotten them for each other. I've gotten them for myself. My mom's gotten some for me, and every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't really like you, but I have to have you.
Yeah, you should see me with Gundam.
My Little Pony trading cards, I think from the lunchbox I gave you for Christmas?
I have 2 My Little Pony lunchboxes that are now stuffed full of My Little Pony trading cards for a trading card game that nobody else plays.
I didn't get you a duplicate?
No. You didn't give me a duplicate. They were two separate lunchboxes. But again, I have so many cards and I have actual trading cards as well, but I have so many cards that are a part of the trading card game that it's absurd now. It's gotten to the point of just absolute absurdity. But the point is that the merchandise, and I can only imagine with series that go on, like anime series that go on for just like 20 plus seasons.
Yeah.
Just
One
the
Piece.
amount of merchandise. Yeah, like One Piece. Exactly.
One Piece started in 1998 and it's only halfway done.
By the way,
it has over 700 episodes already.
I just wanted to say how I love how everyone is being so fancy in the chat with three-piece suits and top hats and monocles and pinstripes and fedoras.
Well, don't forget the milk laced with drugs.
Yep.
That's from John.
Wait, that's Clockwork Orange. I'm like, I almost, for my little anime avatar there, I almost put a bow in my hair that had an eyeball at the center of it, which is something that I actually own.
Yes, you do.
It was on the wrong side of the head, so I had to go with the roses.
Well, I like the roses. I like these.
I did my best to kind of recreate our avatars based on like the ones that we usually use, the black and white ones. So I know I have cat ears in that one. In the actual picture, they're like just triangles on the top of a headband, so they're kind of like cat ears, but they're made out of purple roses. So I like split the difference.
Now, Media, I have not seen
for you, so I just did a shirt that looked like a shirt that you actually own.
No, I love it. I probably do own that shirt. And Media, I have not actually heard. I haven't seen Fairy Tail, but isn't it another series that went on for like ever and ever?
No, actually, I believe it's almost done. This manga series, at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you like Fairy Tail, you should try Rave Master. It is actually Hiro Mishina's prior work before Fairy Tail.
Oh, okay.
And to me, I personally like it better out of the two.
Right on.
But yeah.
I always thought it sounded cool, kind of like Soul Eater. Every once in a while, there will be a series that comes along that I think just sounds cool. I think Fairy Tail was one of those. And I did really I liked the look of the covers of the manga of Soul Eater, but I never got a chance to read it.
I love the art style of Soul Eater.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, like I said, the
and I love the concept of it.
Now, do you know the plot to Soul Eater? Because I would love to hear that. Because like I said, I always thought it looked really cool, but I never dove into it.
Is what it sounds like. Like if I had to.
Yeah. No. Have you watched it, Kat?
I haven't. Like, I think I've probably seen, like some TV bumps for it, but that's about it.
Yeah. So basically, this was during the genre, the anime manga trend of, the Shinigami theory, Grim Reaper. And what it is a bunch of students in like this Grim Reaper Academy.
God, it sounds so neat. Like everything I've heard now about Soul Eater. God, it sounds so neat.
Basically, you're either what they call a Meister or a weapon. Now, the Meister is the person who actually turns into a weapon. So the main character, her name is Maka. She is a Meister, and her partner's name is Soul. And his name is Soul, and he turns into a scythe. And she's teamed up with like two other people, one being the Grim Reaper's son named Death the Kid, and he wields a pair of sisters that turn into pistols, and another one, his name is Black Star, and his partner is a ninja that turns into various ninja tools. So basically the whole point of Soul Eater was, these kids doing, this Grim Reaper's work, or they're collecting the souls so they don't create chaos, to the world of the living.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to check that out. I think it's just going to have to happen.
Okay. So let's say you were the Meister. John would have to be your weapon.
Ooh, John, you'd be my weapon.
Or the other way around, and John could have you as an old battle axe.
I don't want to be anybody's old battle axe. No thanks. No.
Well, like the series on, I believe it's both on Funimation and on Netflix too. Soul Eater. It only covers like the first half of the entire manga series.
Say that again.
So a lot of the Soul Eater, the anime, it only covers like first, I would say, 2 arcs of the manga.
Okay.
So it's a series that's really, it has an ending, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to check that out. I think that sounds really cool.
Check it out. What are you asking, Fab? What is cat making for noise?
There's really no telling. She makes an awful lot of them.
Am I making weird noises?
Yeah.
I mean, other than the usual ones?
I don't know. I guess we will find out.
One of the
I know, right? Yeah, old battle axe I think is akin to a swamp hag. I think that's definitely.
I would actually almost prefer swamp hag.
Yeah.
Like,
Although I don't know,
I
old battle axe
being called that.
Old battle axe does have a just like a hint of badassery to it. You know, like
Badassery,
well, that's
not
the old battle axe.
But badassery.
But badassery.
Badassery.
Fab heard a in the background. Kat, were you singing to yourself again?
It's entirely possible. Unless it's just
There is an echo, Fab. We have been hearing an echo. I've been hearing an echo for a while, but we can't figure out where it's coming from.
Well, hopefully it's not from me, and it's just I don't know. It's probably Siege, that guy.
That friggin' guy.
Siege, when you were talking about whatever it was, the Grim Reaper, Soul Eater, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Is the series set there the entire time, or do people find that place, that Grim Reaper Academy, in like the first episode? Like, is it they start off as normal people, or is it at Grim Reaper Academy the entire time and they have no connection with like the human world?
Oh, they have missions. They have missions. They go out and they like they go hunt for restless souls, basically. Like there's like the first 3 episodes of Soul Eaters basically each episode focuses on one team.
Okay.
Like so first episode was Mock and Soul, the main girl and Scythe. The second episode was Black Star and his partner, forgot her name, Tsubasa. And the third episode was pertained to that's the kid, and and his story, and basically it shows them all just meeting up at the DWMA. I forgot what it stands for, but it's basically a Grim Reaper Academy.
So in the beginning, like whoever is the main character or the main couple of characters, does the arriving at this Grim Reaper Academy, is that a thing that happens? Like, I was a normal everyday girl until I became a Scythe, or until I became a Reaper.
To be honest, I don't remember the story. Yeah.
Let me Google it.
Yeah, okay, I don't remember the
tease out of you there, basically.
Yeah.
You guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but we are having a fantastic conversation in chat right now about what weapons we would all be if we were weapons.
Oh, let's see.
I have to get you guys to weigh in. I'm sorry, I do not mean to deter from what we're talking about.
Katana. Oh, yes. Now, when you say military shovel, Aaron, are you talking about the little E-tool? Like the little shovel with serrated edges that folds up that you put in your pack? Because my dad has one of those, and I would totally love to be an E-tool.
An E-trenching tool?
Yes. Well, no, I think it stands for everything tool. I may be misremembering that. All I know is he gave it to me when I went camping with Girl Scouts. So, meh.
I know.
I got to take all of my dad's Marine Corps shit when I was going camping. With Girl Scouts. Yeah, I'll take some MREs.
That would be an inflatable bat.
Yeah. Actually, me personally, I would be a bludgeoned weapon, like a shillelagh or even
what is a
hammer.
shillelagh? Because that is a cool friggin' word, and I want to use it all the time now. What's a shillelagh?
How have you never heard shillelagh before?
I've never heard of a shillelagh.
As ridiculously Irish I am, I can't believe I've never said that to you.
Yeah, I've never heard shillelagh.
It's just a beat stick, basically.
Yep.
Oh.
Like it's a
like
Siege would totally be a shillelagh then.
Think
with a big old ball on the edge.
like a walking staff and a club. And that's
Media said that they would be a white wax wood staff. Xerxes would be a spear. Somebody among us would have to be like a batleth or.
Oh, you could also be firearms too, you guys. I'm just saying.
Of course, you would be a spear, Xerxes.
One girl in the academy is one of the teachers. She's a sniper rifle.
Oh, nice.
Nah,
Matt, that's what Matt would be. Matt would be a sniper rifle. If Matt were a weapon, absolutely. Anyway, I just thought that was great. Kat, what weapon would you be in the Soul Eater universe? Apparently, I went whoa. What weapon would you be in the Soul Eater universe?
What weapon would I be? Well, I suppose if I wasn't the E-tool from my father's Marine Corps gear, I think I would want to be, I know this is technically two pieces, but it's still the same thing, like a bow and arrow. I'd want to be something that has the option for accuracy and swiftness. Like no bludgeony weapons for me. Like I don't want people to have a slow, miserable death. I just want them to die.
I don't know. When I picture you as a weapon,
yes,
I picture a very small, easily concealed, pastel purple Swiss Army knife, but like one of the deluxe editions that has about 15 different types of like sharp, blunt, and like, but also like squiggly tools in it, as well as like a pair of scissors. That's what I see when I
what it would be. That makes a lot more sense than whatever nonsense I was spouting, because it's delicate to look at, but it's also deadly if used in the right hands.
Also, Kat, I would like to say it is exactly. It's multi-purpose, which I believe. I think of you as a multi-purpose person. Now, apparently, Kat is still very low, her voice on the chat, but it has the question has been posed, Kat. Can you guys and girls do anime voices? And I cannot, but I know that at least one of us absolutely can.
Oh no, I can't at all.
I think Siege and I are out. I think Kat may need to take this one. Can you do some anime voices for us, Kat?
Well, let's see. I used to do like Usagi's opening monologue from the show where she would say, like, "Hello, my name is Kino Usagi. I'm just your average 14-year-old girl." Let me see if I can find it. Because, gosh, oh my gosh, the live action Sailor Moon monologue. Oh my goodness.
Like if you want me to quote anime, I could quote a bunch of anime, but that's about it. I can't impersonate.
It's one of those things, like, I've never had to do it on call before.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't in Japanese, so this is in English. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen anything. I know that Molly hates the standard anime girl voice.
Not when you do it. Not when you do it.
Because it's so high and like often very loud, and it was just
usually it's just because I'm jealous. Okay, because I can't get my voice that high. I want to talk real high, but I can't. I've got this stupid jazz singer from the 20s who smoked cigars for 40 years voice.
Yeah, that's really terrible, and we all just hate it, like, so much. Like, if only Molly sounded like Tsukino Usagi, like crybaby 14-year-old who loves to eat pork buns. And also saves the world occasionally.
Of course.
Occasionally. Yeah, no, let's put a pin in that, and I will do a little digging as we talk about some other things because there are some other bits on the notes, and when I find something to be read, I will share. And I will.
You know what's funny about this is she's really tried to you guys. I hope you appreciate it because she normally just slips into anime girl voice like randomly throughout the day.
I don't know what's happening. I've never had anime girl voice stage fright before.
Stage fright.
Totally understand.
Okay, so like this isn't anime girl voice, but it's the standard like very deep voiced older Japanese man. And the only reason I remember it is from like the trailer for one of the Tenchi Muyo movies, and it's just at the very end of the trailer, and this guy comes in, Tenchi Muyo, Manatsu no Ibo.
Nice.
Part 2.
I do love the old Japanese man, voice, or he's always like the priest at the shrine. Now I will say that I do love if you've ever seen Tenchi Muyo in the English dub, his grandfather, the guy who does the voice acting for him, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Oh no, I meant like
Steve Bloom.
I meant the character name. I was trying to think of like what his Earth name is, and then what his Prince of Jirai name is, and I couldn't remember it. But the guy who does the English voice for him actually has like a really good old Japanese man voice, like the what you would expect to hear in an anime, but he's speaking English. It's uncanny. Tenshi, you must concentrate and always be practicing. Okay, so jumping back a little bit, #StoryOctopus. What I was trying to tease out of Siege earlier when I was asking about Soul Eater was there's a specific subgenre in anime which I had never really thought about before, but it's definitely a thing that happens, called isekai, and that is when you have characters who are transported to another world. And I suppose it could sort of be supernatural in nature, but sometimes it's, they're transported into a demon world accidentally on their way to school. That's one that seems to happen pretty frequently. Or they're transported into a digital world.
Digimon.
And I never really thought about that before, but it is actually something that occurs pretty frequently, I feel like.
Yep.
I think I've maybe encountered it more in manga than in anime, but I really love it when it happens. And I was just walking to school one day, and all of a sudden I got transported to the vampire realm.
Why does that never happen to me? Just a question. I'm just throwing that out there. Why am I never?
Were you talking about Rosario Vampire Cat right there?
No, I mean, specifically the one that I'm thinking of. Like this girl ends up like in a demon realm, in a yokai realm, and it's like a school for demons, and there's like a snake girl demon, and kitsune fox demons, and all kinds of things, and they're trying to hide the fact that she's human from, I guess, everyone. I think maybe she has like one or two yokai confidants. There is also this really terrible vampire anime, like I call it vampire bite porn. So it's like kind of an ecchi subgenre. But the majority of it is just like this girl gets sent to live in this house, and it's all run by these aristocratic vampire brothers, and she gets bit by each and every one of them, and they're basically living off her blood. And she's their prisoner, and she's
just one girl's blood for how many vampires?
I think there's maybe like 4 or 5 that live in the house, but then later on there is like this rival gang of vampires, or maybe they're werewolves. I don't know. I watched it. It was like watching trash TV. Like, this is so bad, but I really enjoy watching this. But yeah, vampire bite porn. That's really all it is. And there are these really long extended sequences where they go, "No, you don't get to go anywhere. You are my food." Nomph. And she goes, "No, don't bite me. Oh goodness, why can't I get away? Oh dear, how did this happen to me?" And that's like, she doesn't technically get transported to another world, but she is trapped in this, you know, monstrous world that she had no idea exists, even though it exists alongside everything else.
Yeah.
I'm desperately trying to find the name of it now.
Yeah, I'd be curious. It reminded me of just going on from the whole vampire werewolf thing and the trashness of the sexiness that are inherent to both werewolves and vampires. Yeah, that manga series that I was talking about earlier, it's called Soulless, by Gail Carriger. It's actually an American written story. It was originally a series of novels, and then it was adapted to manga. And I always wanted them to make an anime series out of it because I just think that it would be so fantastic. But it has a little bit more depth and a little bit more intellect than a lot of the stories with that type of, you know, where you've got that kind of thing going on, because you have a woman, a fancy woman. This all takes place in Victorian England, by the way. The whole story does. And she possesses a magical parasol weapon, and she has no soul. Of course, she has to have a magical parasol weapon, or it wouldn't be a story. It has to be there. But she has no soul. She's one of the soulless. And because she has no soul, it allows her to essentially put a stop to a lot of different demonic forces and supernatural creatures that are taking over Victorian England. And she has, it gives her a lot of abilities. But of course, even a woman without a soul must fall in love. And there is quite a bit of that sort of love triangle, because she's in love with a vampire. No, she's in love with a werewolf who's like the head of his werewolf clan. But then there's like this very seductive vampire man who comes along. But it's a really, really fun series. But I mean, it really is kind of trashy, but it's very well written trash, you know. But I highly recommend, if you are looking for another manga to read, if you're in the market for a manga and you want something Victorian, vampire-y, romancy, check out Soulless by Gail Carriger. It's really, really good. Yeah. I wish I could remember who adapted it to manga, because it was originally just a series of novels, but I really like it.
Kind of going back to, I found it, Diabolic Lovers. Diabolic is spelled Diabolik. And like, it is just the trashiest fucking show. So, all right, now I've got to find. I just want to read the description that Hulu gives, so that you can kind of get a better idea, because I didn't give a very good synopsis of it. So here we go. Yui Komori used to see dead people. But as troubling as past glimpses of spirits and psychic phenomena may have been, they pale into insignificance compared to what she's about to discover when she's forced to transfer to a new school. Because it turns out that her own history is very different from what she thought it was, and she has a very different kind of family waiting for her. Now she'll be sharing her living space with 6 very attractive young men, though not a single one is human. Of course, every single one of these 6 very attractive men, and they are all attractive in their own way.
Oh, okay, so it's a reverse harem then.
A reverse harem. Ooh, I like that.
But of course, you know, she's there almost basically against her will. Like, her father sends there after he dies, I think. And each of the boys, actually that's a perfect way to describe it, Siege, because in a harem anime, you've always got the various different kinds of attractiveness in each of the girls. You've got the girl who's very young and like innocent and very
lolly, lolly type,
very gothic Lolita. And then you've got one who's maybe a little bit older and she's really outgoing and, you know, maybe has a little bit of a temper and like she's the cool one. And
the tsundere,
the eldest, who you know, dresses a little bit more conservatively, is kind of mature.
The homemaker one.
Yep. a little bit bookish. Then you've got and as I'm describing these, I'm literally looking at a picture of Diabolic Lovers and just like giving the female equivalent of each of the ones that I see. And then
you should check out Orin High School's Host Club.
I've never actually seen Host Club, but I'm sure I'll get to it someday.
Yeah.
I want to be I'm sorry, I'm catching up on chat. But yeah, like you've got the appeal, I suppose, to harem or what you might call reverse harem, but though that's a bit sexist, anime, is that there's something for everyone. No matter what your type is, they're gonna have it, and so you're gonna always be shipping your favorite with the main character.
Or you're just gonna pick your favorite and just fantasize about that one.
Or you do that, and that is your waifu, or husband do.
Husband do.
Well, I think it's husbandal.
Husbandal.
Yeah. And but yeah, Diabolic Lovers. If you're looking for some really cheesy ass, but at the same time kind of like weirdly erotic, trashy vampire bite porn, check out Diabolic Lovers. It is available to watch on Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah, I don't have any subscriptions to like Crunchyroll or anything. Most of the anime that I find nowadays happens on Netflix and Hulu. And occasionally I'll go back and find ones that I watched a long time ago.
I was so excited to say that I was going to check that out that I almost choked to death.
Yeah, no, go ahead and watch just like 1 or 2 episodes, and you'll find yourself like, yeah, enough story arc already. Get to the part where you bite her. Yeah, bite her.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie.
Don't let her leave the room. Don't let her leave the room. That's right. Grab her by the wrist. Yes. Actually, you know what, Siege? There is a list of anime subgenres that I actually Googled. It's on Real Rundown. And reverse harem is actually listed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's an actual category.
Don't even mess with me about this. So tailing the end of that list is Yuri and Yaoi. Yaoi is probably more people are familiar with it. Do you know what Yaoi is, Molly?
I do not.
You should.
Google it.
Google it? Okay. How do I spell it?
No. I'll tell you. Yaoi.
Chris and Kurt.
Is boy love, basically.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's targeted at young women, generally speaking.
Yeah.
It's basically male on male romance. And occasionally something more.
Okay. Yeah. No, I am.
Sexy.
I'm a little bit familiar with. Well, see, and now I've already forgotten it. It was. No, I just remembered it. It's one of the only anime terms I know, and seriously, the only reason that I know about this anime term is because I was a product developer in Second Life for a long time, and it's one of those things that could not be avoided. It is, but it's yiffy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yiffy, I think maybe is related to like furry.
Yes, it's boy furry stuff. Yeah, and it was a term that I ran into a lot in Second Life when I was product developing over there. So I don't know. But Yaoi is what you're
Yaoi.
Okay.
Yaoi. Yes. And then on the flip side of that, you have Yuri, which is a favorite of mine, obviously. So if
mine
Yaoi
too.
is male romance, what do you think Yuri might be?
Female romance?
Exactly.
Yeah, new thing.
Now, unfortunately, again, generally speaking, like at least 50%, probably more, of Yuri deals with female relationships, but it's like just very deep friendship, maybe borderline romantic friendship. But it very rarely is explicitly like, no, this is a romantic relationship, and they are lesbian. And part of that is because it's still kind of a little bit weird to be gay in Japan. Like, it's seen kind of as something that a lot of people grow out of. Like, generally speaking, there isn't a whole lot of, like, there isn't homophobia in Japan the same way that there is in the United States. Because, like, as long as you can have a job and have children, then you are okay in most people's eyes.
Yeah.
But of course it's, you know, the same as anything else. Lesbian erasure has existed since Sappho. So and in most cultures, gay women just don't they aren't really acknowledged. And if women are together in a romantic and or sexual fashion, it is seen as basically women finding comfort in each other, like in times of war when their men are away. And that seems to be kind of like a weird worldwide thing. That's right, we're going from talking about anime to about lesbian erasure. This show covers it all. But yeah, I see but there are a few out there. The first one that I ever found that, like, really sucked me into the genre was called Strawberry Panic.
I'm familiar with that one, sort of.
Is it because you saw me watching it and or reading it when we lived together?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and of course, it's one of those anime that have no male characters in it whatsoever. Like, it is all females all the time, and they get away with that because the main characters in the story go to an all-girls school. In fact, it's like an entire campus on top of a hill out in the countryside that has 3 all-girls schools, and they kind of all have their own, you know, style of uniform and kind of focus. The one where our 2 main characters in Strawberry Panic, Shizuma, I want to say, is, and then whatever the word for strawberry is, her name is Ichigo or something very similar to it.
Yeah, Ichi is or something like that.
But their school is, like, more classical, and they wear very like Victorian-esque European-style uniforms with high necks and long, and, you know, the wrists are covered, and they're very fancy looking. So let's see. What is the name of the main character? That's what I want to know. No, it's not Ichigo. Tell me the freaking... You're telling me the stupid wiki is, like, telling me all about the schools. Nagisa! Oh my god, how could I have forgotten Nagisa? And, of course, you know, in these sorts of Yuri-style anime, they have, like, the upperclassmen who kind of takes them under their wing. Yep.
Right.
Nagisa and
The senpai.
Shizuma-sama. Oh, beautiful Shizuma-sama. She has, like, gorgeous, like, beautiful silvery gray, like, super long hair, and she's, you know, very waifish and pale and elegant, and oh, I love her. I love Shizuma-sama. Shizuma-sama, please notice me. Please notice me.
Senpai noticed me.
Oh my god. Yeah, the whole senpai thing is a great big trope. The underclassmen wanting their upperclassmen to know to like take them under their wing because, you know, they're older and cooler and more experienced.
Yep.
And occasionally that can kind of drift into the realm of a vaguely romantic friendship or basically the underclassmen like idolize their upperclassmen so much that it almost becomes like a crush, like a romantic crush, even if they don't necessarily pursue anything romantic or sexual with the upperclassmen.
is more of an admiration.
Yeah, but it's like even beyond that. It's like I'm in love
We're
with it.
lying.
Well, and so much to the point that in your anime, definitely, you know, when it's at a girls' school, they will go on outings with each other and they'll call it a date. Date.
Yep. And do these animations have the traditional? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
And I was saying, does it have the traditional beach episode?
Oh yes. Let's talk about the beach episode. It happens in a lot of slice of life style anime, but it also happens. It seems to occur like just about everywhere. I mean, Tenchi Muyo I know had at least 2 beach episodes, although they also had a lot. Ooh, and the hot springs episode. When you go to the hot springs and everybody's in their little towels, there's all kinds of opportunities for interesting awkwardness in these situations.
You'll have that 1 or 2 perverts trying to sneak in, take a look.
And you've got to have your little ladle and bucket ready to throw at them. Your little wooden ladle and bucket.
Now, really quickly, Xerxes said, I got to start getting ready for work, but here are some random animes I'd like to recommend. And then he posted a little list of anime. I have not actually seen any of them. I have heard of one, though, which is Samurai Champloo.
Same.
I haven't seen
I love Samurai Champloo.
As do I.
Lagoon and Ergo Proxy I've heard of. Same with Durarara. And, but I haven't heard of Hajime no Ippo.
Oh, I did. It's boxing. Yeah, it's a boxing anime.
Okay.
Okay.
Would we call that a subgenre of martial arts?
It's a sports.
Or a
sports festival. Yeah, it's a sports and it's a shonen sport.
So.
And shonen is for
young boys.
Boys, right? Young boys. Okay, young men.
I'm trying to think. Let's go back to our notes. We've got about a half hour when we usually tend to wrap up and wind down.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are watching, if there is anything or any particular anime that you would like to suggest to us, or that you would like us to talk about, if we know it, we will. And
have you seen Hetalia?
We'll probably find a way to talk about it.
Have you seen Hetalia yet, guys?
What's that?
Hetalia?
I haven't seen Hetalia. It's another one that I think that I've heard of, though.
It's basically each character represents a country, and it is like yeah, and it's just awesome. And like it's around during World War II time, so you have Germany, Japan, and Italy being the Axis powers, and it's just a whole bunch of tomfoolery.
That sounds great.
The character who is the United States is a total buttface.
Of course.
then you have Canada, who's just always there quiet.
Hey, how's it going? I haven't watched that one yet. I have like a negative association with it because of a certain person, and I'm sure someday I'll get over that and I will watch it because it sounds like something that I would find really amusing. Anything that's World War II era, of course, I'm gonna love the fashions of it, and it seems like a really interesting concept.
Yeah,
it sounds like it. Absolutely.
Aaron suggests 7 Deadly Sins.
Season 2 is already out on sub.
I haven't seen that.
I seem to recall some. I think I must be thinking of Full Metal Alchemist. Is there like a group of antagonists that are all based off the 7 Deadly Sins in Full Metal?
The Ouroboros, the homunculus.
Yeah. Okay.
They all have the Ouroboros.
I didn't make that up. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it when I vaguely remember things. By the way, guys, I'm still actually searching the internet for Usagi's opening monologue from the television show. I'm trying to find it written in Japanese. So that I can read it in the high squeaky Japanese voice.
Yeah. There is a series that is like a short, I would say 6 or 12 episode series. I was talking to you, Kat, about it.
Yeah.
It's called Shimometa. It is the world where dirty jokes doesn't exist.
Oh, that's
and it's
right. Yes. No. Please tell us about that.
Basically what it is Japan became very strict about their sexual misconduct laws. So like everything like sexual devious was purged out of Japan, and Japan became the country with the highest moral values. So
what is this now? Wait, what was this called again?
Shimometa.
Okay.
And so what the story starts off with a girl who wears a panty on her head, and she considers herself an erotic terrorist. And what she does is
an erotic terrorist.
Yeah, she screams out like lewd gestures. First of all, she has a cell phone because all the kids have to wear a collar. Because if anybody like says anything lewd, they get caught, they get arrested. So she has this cell phone that could jam that collar like for only 3 minutes a day. So the premise is her just like screaming out obscene gestures and tossing like random pictures of girls in their lingeries, naked girls. And the whole premise is like they're trying to like really liberate these young kids, because the kids have no idea why are they getting a boner, or why are they getting wet and down there in the nether regions and stuff. So they're very oblivious to anything sexual. And yeah, her whole goal is to teach these kids that it's okay to be perverted too and stuff. This is like a really short 12 episode series.
That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I gave you my Funimation account so you can watch it, Kat.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to find the whole opening dialogue where Usagi says "Hello, I'm Tsukino Usagi and I'm 14 years old and blah 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 blah." But I did find the "I'll punish you" speech, which is, her signature. Get ready, Demon of the Week, because I'm here to kick your butt.
On behalf of the man.
And hopefully, I will be able to deliver this pretty well. Let's see what happens. 愛との世紀のセーラー服美少女戦士セーラームーン月の可愛いおしょきょ Really short.
Yay!
And really
that was
all
great.
that means is I'm the pretty suited soldier, sailor soldier of love and justice, Sailor Moon. In the name of the moon, I will punish you. And it was usually preceded by something that would comment on the actual situation at hand, like say if the demons had infiltrated, like a pop star finding contest, like who among you will be the newest pop star. She would come up and say, and of course she was participating in this contest even though she cannot sing or dance because she is terrible and clumsy. But she would come up and say, how dare you try to be trampling on the dreams of young girls. I will not let you get away with, for we are here for fun and music and happy time dancing.
Who was your favorite Sailor Scout? Or Pretty Soldier?
Am I limited to the original 5, or are we talking
entire doing all
Sailor Moon
universe? Entire.
I was a really big fan of Sailor Saturn in the Outer Century, and of course Uranus and Neptune because they were gay.
Yay.
Aaron, thank you. I'm glad that even though there wasn't that much to go on, I could give you some friggin' adorableness. Let's see. It in like the the further into the series you got, like the extra Sailor Scouts that just popped up were crazier and crazier all the time. Do you remember watching the Black Moon Circus part of the series?
Yes. Yes.
So the 4 kind of servants, they're the Amazonas quartets.
Yeah, the ones that were serving Rubius, right?
Yep. Well, and eventually, the 3 original antagonists from the Black Moon Circus go away, and it's nothing but the Amazonas quartet. And when they actually become Chibiusa's Sailor Scouts in Crystal Tokyo in the future, I don't know if that is ever addressed in the anime. It's definitely addressed in the manga. Let's see if I can remember their names. I always remember Para Para and Junjun, Sere Sere, and Ves Ves.
Yeah.
And I loved their outfits. And of course they change a little bit when they get into Sailor Fuku, but their hair is just so crazy and interesting. It's all like big buns and like long, really tightly wrapped, not quite braids, but something like that. And then in the final series, the Sailor Moon Stars, the little, let's see, Sailor Iron Mouse, and then there was a cat one too, and I don't know if she was called like Sailor Neko or Sailor Tin Cat. That's what it was, because they all had the name of a metal and the name of an animal. Yeah, I loved Sailor Tin Cat. Yes, it was just because her hair was done up like cat ears.
Yep.
And also they had really interesting little Fuku. From like the original gang, I would maybe say, I don't know, I'm caught between Mercury and Jupiter.
I love Jupiter.
I loved Makoto, because she was both like a tough guy, but she was also really sensitive and feminine.
And she was very wifey. Yeah, homemaker.
She is very wifey. Like she's totally ready to kick some ass, but then when you get her and she wants to get to know you, she'll make you lunch and like do flower arranging and clean your apartment, and she's just so cute.
Yes.
And I suppose I also really liked Ray, who was Sailor Mars, because I definitely have a thing for shrine maidens. Let's be honest.
Even Kikyo?
Even though Kikyo was a bitch, I also liked Kikyo. Like, she's like, oh my god, I hate you so much, but I love you too. She's always getting in the way and just being kind of a dick. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm back. Here to drag you to hell with me because I'm sad and life sucks. A witch brought me back from the dead and I'm sad about it.
Like Buffy. Xerxes said...
Actually, yeah, no, when you put about it like that, now I feel sorry for her. Shit.
I'm sorry. Xerxes also said, it's not anime, but I would recommend that name there that I'm afraid to pronounce in public. I'm afraid to mess it up.
Gaki no Tsukai.
Gaki no Tsukai.
Gaki no Tsukai. Oh my gosh, I'm so behind on chat. You guys were talking about Baby Metal and...
Yeah, I was talking about how perfectly you would fit into Baby Metal, and I don't know why you're not their next new member. Like, why you're not a member of a Japanese or East Asian heavy metal pop band, I don't know.
I'm not...
I haven't either.
I'm not slender enough to be a part of a J-pop band or a K-pop band.
That is really, really ridiculously not true.
So not true.
There is actually one K-pop group that my Korean roommate turned me on to, and they actually have I can't remember if she's English or American, but she is a Westerner, and maybe she's like half Korean, but she is like one of the most popular members, strangely enough.
Yeah,
and she's like a dance wizard.
Oh yeah, yep, all the dancing.
There, I still can't find this. Siege, can you say the name of it again for me? The name of the one that Xerxes.
Oh, Gakinosuke.
Gakinosuke. I have not heard of it. What's it about? I say as I could totally look things up by myself, but...
Well, I don't know if Xerxes is able to explain it to us because he's still getting ready for work. Which, why are you not at work yet? I mean, I'm glad you're still watching us, but...
Don't watch streaming. I saw somebody do that in Dom's stream the other day, and we're like, no, don't do that!
Dom is always streaming while she's at work. It's hilarious.
If you haven't seen Sailor Moon, it's you can watch it on Hulu, or
Yeah.
you know, not that I'm encouraging anyone to do illegal downloads, but that's also an option.
Don't do it, please. Don't do it.
No.
Just don't funk up your computer with spyware. From but
I don't know. I worked in media retail for like 15 years. Please don't download anything illegally. Please just go to Netflix or like something else, please.
Aaron, like, I don't know if you heard me earlier talking about that weird little trope in like slice of life shoujo manga and anime where like the main character and her best friend like make a diet pact to, you know, lose 8 kilograms over Christmas break, and it's kind of a weird thing to read about, or to watch depending on how you encounter it. Gakinotsuke. Okay. Oh, it's a Japanese variety show. I may have happened to...
Oh, this is like the 24-hour punishment games? I remember
was this like
those.
those like weird like obstacle courses where you see people like riding on giant floaties and like things like that?
I don't think it's that one. Okay. They do it on a soundstage. Although I suppose the Ultimate Warrior...
Oh, no, basically it is like 4 guys, and they actually have like a bet, and the winner gets to come up with a punishment for the losers.
Oh, neat.
So, what happened this one time, they had the 24 hours punishment challenge. So what he did was like every half hour, like there would be like a professional Muay Thai fighter just kicking the shit out of the 3 of them, just like kicking them hard. Or like if they're sleeping, he'll wake them up in an alarm. Just like all these traumatic, ironic, torturing ways to like torture them.
I've looked it up. They call them batsu games, or punishment games, in which
punishment games.
The cast members are subjected to, after losing bets, major competition or physical challenges. The No Laughing Batsu game itself was first introduced in 2003. The premise of each game is that the losing members of the cast have to endure many compromising, absurd, generally ridiculous situations for a long period of time, up to 24 hours, but must refrain from laughing at any of them.
Oh, wow.
Don't know. I mean, depending on the day, I might do really, really well at that show, or at that game, or I might be terrible at it.
Like, you ever watch
couldn't do it.
Silent Library?
No.
Silent Library?
I have no idea what that is.
Basically what it is like one of these games, but what it is they will do like some they'll like pop up a card, and they're gonna have to do this like totally random thing, like getting like a gummy in the ear, which is like an old man will remove his dentures and start biting your ear. and you're not supposed to laugh.
No,
I've already done so. It's happening.
I gotta ask. So is this a Japanese show that you guys are talking about?
Yes.
I just
sound like a Japanese game show.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they tried to bring it here in America, but MTV made it into like a game show where you win money.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know. I just think it's so neat because, like, okay, and I very, very rarely mention this YouTuber on other YouTubes because it's like talking politics. So let's just just move past that I'm mentioning him, but PewDiePie recently posted a video of a vlog from when he and Marzia went to Japan, and they it was a really long vlog of some of the stuff that they did while they were there. And man, I just, having not really had much of an insight in my life thus far into what life is like in Japan, and having spent the last, I would say, 2 years really learning a lot more about it, my God, the Japanese know how to have fun. Like, they just really know how to have fun in a whimsical way that we just don't have here in the States, like, except in very remote corners of the country, you know? And it's just so cool. And when I hear you guys talk about, like, you know, this show that you're talking about, or any of the stuff that we've talked about tonight, it's just, God, there's just such a, I don't know, man. I don't even know what word to say to use it, but the
culture shock.
Sure. I don't know what that means, but sure. Bye, Xerxes. Have a great night at work. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just, I don't know, warms the cockles of my heart to see some of the sort of, just the sort of fun that people seem to have in their entertainment media over there. It's really cool. And I don't know if that sounds weird or not, but it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately.
That's kind of an interesting point. That everything, their ability to have fun is just so free and open, and all kinds of crazy scenarios, you know, that seem really like weird and shocking to, say, Americans, but I think it's a very lovely trait, and I think that's one reason that I actually really enjoy anime, and subsequently American cartoons that are inspired by anime, because everything is so over the top. And, you know, I mean, there's something to be said for subtlety, sure.
Yeah.
But I love that, you know, just wearing every emotion right on the sleeve. Even if the people, even if the characters around them don't seem to notice. But, you know, like the horrible embarrassment, wah! Or, you know, fear, heart attack, oh my God, you scared me so much I almost died.
Right.
Or, oh my gosh, I'm so in love and full of gushy, mushy feelings that I will just fall over and at the same time float off into the sky. Actually, that is a good little segue into another thing that I wanted to talk about tonight, which is Western cartoons, Western animation that has been inspired by anime. And that pertains to visual style, that pertains to specific content and character types and story setting. Some of the ones that I immediately think of, and I don't know if anybody remembers this at this point or ever watched it, there was a show I watched it on ABC Family, called Totally Spies. And
my niece watches that.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and that absolutely, I mean, their faces and their expressions are absolutely anime inspired. And they have kind of that, a little bit of the magical girl quality to them. They don't exactly have a henshin sequence that happens every episode, but they have something similar, and they've also all got little gadgets that are very magical girl inspired. And then, of course, Molly, you'll know this, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and also like a little bit Legend of Korra. I feel like in Legend of Korra they kept the over-the-top emotions a little more on the down low. Like it was overall a little more serious than Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I really loved Avatar: The Last Airbender, by the way.
So much.
I absolutely loved it.
Teen Titans was another one that
Teen Titans.
Original Teen Titans.
Yes.
Not Teen Titans Go.
Technically speaking, I mean, you could even say Teen Titans Go is just the chibi version of Teen Titans.
Yeah, you could, and that's maybe why I hate it. I don't know. I mean, well, that, and I felt like the writing really took a serious dip with Teen Titans Go, but yeah,
it was targeted for a younger audience.
There were no more overarching story plots, which was disappointing. I liked that they had kind of a similar vibe going as they did with the other DC cartoons, like Batman the Animated Series. There was a touch of that, but they also had kind of the wacky anime shenanigans, and as well as, you know, awkward crushes on people tropes going on as well in original Teen Titans. So it was this lovely mix of, you know, Batman the Animated Series plus anime tropes. And it just made it so charming. And then to have it turned into, like, whatever the reboot of Dexter's Laboratory was, like, that's basically what it is to me. It's like, yeah, the characters are from Teen Titans, but it's basically the Dexter's Lab reboot.
Yeah.
Did you know the writing goes?
Did you know the Powerpuff Girls had a Japanese animation adaptation?
Yes, I did. That I can't believe I didn't put that down in my notes, but I've seen a little bit of it. It's almost like watching Mega Man, but it's like, I don't know, the style of animation, and I think maybe it's the mayor. The mayor also in the Japanese Powerpuff Girls show almost looks like one of the characters from Mega Man. But yeah. It's so funny how we have such, like, a cultural back and forth in style and in content with animation.
Yeah,
it's like
when you have Teen Titans and Avatar: The Last Airbender is like full circle in animation, because you have Western cartoons like Betty Boop inspiring Japanese animation back in the day, and then now you have Western cartoons that are influenced and inspired by anime. It's beautiful.
It is. It is totally beautiful.
Why can't we learn more from the animation industry?
I don't know. I think we still can. I think we still can.
Another one, and you actually mentioned this, I think a while ago, earlier on in the podcast, Molly, but like Steven Universe has a lot of anime influence, and I mean, part of that is because the show's creator, Rebecca Sugar, grew up watching anime and reading manga, and you'll even see a lot of Japanese media in Steven's room in his house. He has a Sailor Moon manga on his bedside table.
Oh, nice. You know, I never noticed that.
And he watches Japanese martial arts movies. I think the Sailor Moon manga shows up specifically only in one episode.
Yeah, that's nice, though. That's a nice little...
funny. Well, and also, for that matter, I don't know that I've ever confirmed this, but I swear that Lion, the pink lion that Steven has, or, I mean, has is a relative term. He kind of does... Lion kind of does what he wants. But I swear that lion is based off of this one... what were they called? I think they were called cardigans, which sounds like a sweater, but they were actually demons that popped out of these cards in one of the Sailor Moon seasons. They were,
I remember that.
Yeah, I think they were called cardigans, which now that the more I say it out loud, it just sounds weird. I'm like, what are these sweaters they're fighting? But there is a cardigan that is like, it's a female demon-y kind of character. She's entirely pink. Her face is kind of anthropomorphically lionish. She has a huge, giant pink mane. And I don't remember whether I was rewatching the original series or if it just hit me one day. Wait a second. Lion looks exactly like that demon from Sailor Moon. Is this true? And then, like, I go and I look up and put them side by side. Oh my gosh! There's no way that this isn't based off that. And just seeing all those little Easter eggy type things it's a delight.
It is. Sorry, we're having a hard-hitting conversation about piracy in the chat. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad that Molly is advocating for
artists.
Well, and it's not, and so is Fab. And I mean, we all are. It was mostly just because of my knee-jerk reaction, and not to get into a big thing on the podcast about anime about it, but my knee-jerk reaction probably sounded a little teensy bit like a lecture. And I really am so sorry if that's what it sounded like. It's just having seen, and it might be different here too in the States because, we see a lot of bookstores, record stores, video stores. Of course, video stores don't really exist anymore at all. They're all going out of business. I mean, just people left and right are closing the doors. So many small business owners have been completely screwed because everything that they used to sell can now be gotten for free on the internet. And that sucks. And that breaks my heart. So I want to fight for them. But I also agree with everything that Fab was saying and everything the media was saying too about ad block. Like, I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's I'm torn all the time about it.
Well, and the thing is, and I've ranted about copyright before. A lot of it comes down to copyright. A lot of this stuff that we want to find, and we absolutely would support the artists that created it if we could, is that it's not available. It's not available to us, and that's because things get tied up in copyright. Whether people don't want to produce it because they don't think it'll make them any money, or and that's beginning to change. It's becoming a lot easier for artists to directly produce their own work and produce things in small enough volume so that it can be provided to a smaller audience over the course of a longer amount of time, rather than doing a big marketing campaign and releasing a whole bunch all at once. So these are important things to talk about, and Fab makes a good point about talking about how YouTube makes its money by letting ads play. We're all sort of learning together. The companies, the media companies that provide us with our entertainment and entertainment, etc. And because sometimes it's educational things. And we're also learning together as consumers of these items, and it's kind of a back and forth, and we're making mistakes, all of us together, tripping and falling.
Exactly.
Us shaking our fists at them for not allowing certain things to be published or to be broadcast because they don't think they'll make enough money off of it. And then they're shaking their fists at us because we go and either download it illegally or, we buy secondhand. Or we buy from out of the country.
Well, and it's so interesting to me because I don't know if you guys have heard of her or not, but she's a YouTuber. She's a live streamer. Her name is Gigi Gab. Are you guys familiar with her? Kat, you would absolutely love her, by the way.
I think I've heard you mention her.
She's wonderful. John and I are crazy about her. She's originally from the Netherlands. She lives in Japan now. And she's multilingual. And the way that she sort of got her start as a live streamer was that there was a sequel to Fatal Frame that had never been released outside of Japan. And it had never been translated into any other language other than Japanese. And so a lot of fans of the Fatal Frame series were really, over here in the States or in just other parts of the world were heartbroken, because they would never get to play this game. It was never going to be released outside of Japan. So what Gigi Gab did, as someone who lives in Japan, speaks Japanese, but also speaks English, she played the game. She live streamed the game in its entirety and translated all of the text for everyone to watch so that they could see the story. And maybe the game itself may have been released elsewhere and just never translated to English. I don't know. But all I know is that there were a lot of people who could not get the full experience of that particular Fatal Frame game because they couldn't speak Japanese. And so she did. She played it and she translated the game as she played it. And it completely skyrocketed her YouTube channel, for one thing. But I think it also really brought a lot of Fatal Frame fans together and enhanced their experience as fans of the series. And that was a really interesting workaround, which also kind of, I think, brings up an interesting question about, like gaming versus other forms of media sharing, and how we could maybe save certain types of entertainment media through share plays and and things like that without the mess of copyright. But anyway, it's just interesting, and it just reminded me of Gigi Gab, and just something to think about, guys, because that's very cool. I don't know how relevant it is.
Fab brings up it's like $20 USD, I'm assuming, to go to the cinema in Sweden Now, when you say ads, Fab, are you talking about like the kind of ads we see on YouTube that could be about who knows what, or are they adverts for upcoming films? Because if it was just like, and I mean, we do that in local theaters in Omaha, I know. Before
yeah, but when was the last time you went to one of the bigger theaters, Kat? Because I know that you go to a lot of midnight shows and you go to a lot of special events at movie theaters here. I have seen a lot of commercials prior to the previews at movie theaters these days. So you go into the movie theater, you pay like 12, 13 bucks a ticket. It costs another $12, $13 for popcorn and a soda. You get in there, spent
tell you what, for the next couple of months, I'm really going to have to be good about not getting anything or like not eating dinner at the Alamo Draft House. Like I just need to
that's the other thing now.
$7 on a Tuesday and no popcorn, no drinks, no nothing. Because I am poor right now.
Well, and that's the other thing that we're doing now, too. In order to keep movie theaters alive in the States, we're turning all of our movie theaters into dine-in theaters. So you're not just seeing a movie, you're also able to eat a full meal, which is novel, but it's extraordinarily expensive. And don't even get me started about how they're having to renovate, completely change the layouts of movie theaters now to accommodate big dinner tables, which for tiny little short people is a complete nightmare. Because I would go to Midtown Cinema, which is where I used to work, which was a movie theater / restaurant.
For a month.
You worked there for a month. I remember that.
Before spending all of my money that I earned there on the chiropractor.
I absolutely hated watching movies there because if I didn't sit in the first 5 rows, which I'm not a sitting up in the very front type person when I go to movies, I could not see the damn film without sitting on my legs.
I don't know who designed that theater. It was not a good design. And I'm sure that a lot of the inspiration for the design came from like a lecture hall or like for a meeting, and that's what they used it a lot for. Now I will say that Alamo Draft House, their theater design, at least in Omaha, is incredibly, I think, well accomplished. It's very efficient and effective for the people viewing the movie. It is easy to get through for the people who are serving, and everything's still relatively compact. And they have lights underneath the little tables that are, in between seats, so that if you wanted to look at a menu, you could. But it's like out of the way, and also even just down to the color of the lighting that lines the walls, the little LEDs, so that when the movie is about to begin, like it light. I can't remember if it's like a blue. I want to say it's like a blue light that starts to come up, and it's much less glaring than just blam, lights are on at the end of the movie, and it's like it eases you out of your movie watching experience, which I really appreciate.
See, I don't know. And I mean, again, I'm so sorry that we deviated so far away from the topic at hand. I mean, we were getting ready to wrap up, but it's just, call me old fashioned, which most people normally do. But when I go to the movies, I want to pay like $5. I want to go into a dark room and sit in a little chair. You know what I mean? And then I want the movie to come up. I want to see like maybe 3 previews for relevant movies. I want to watch the movie in peace and quiet in a nice little space where I'm crammed together with a whole bunch of other people that want the same thing. And then when it's over, I want the lights to go up and we leave. Like watching a movie used to be a much simpler experience, I miss that. That. Now you are kind of barraged with ads, like when we went to go see it at another dine-in theater, the only one that is within distance that I can get to with my agoraphobia, I can only go so far. The one theater that we have access to in Council Bluffs, we went, and it was a dine-in theater. It was extremely uncomfortable, although actually it wasn't too bad where we were sitting. But again, we had to watch like a Verizon commercial. There was like a commercial. I can't even remember. It was like 3 commercials and then like 6 or 7 previews.
Ways to get you.
Yeah, and it's like what Fab was saying. I already spent like $30 to be here. I don't need you to try to sell me a cell phone. Anyway, sorry. I like previews as well. I'm a big fan of previews, like of upcoming movies. Huge fan of that. But I don't like the commercials before movies in the theater.
On on the note of wrapping up, Molly, are there any like final thoughts? I'm sure we'll do another Otaku Notaku episode in the future, where maybe we'll take like one subgenre of anime specifically, or maybe we'll look at one series specifically and talk about the pros and cons and here's a little interesting history and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I would like that a lot. I would like to if I could find the time to watch some of the anime series that I want to watch, which my time is just unfortunately I don't have a lot of time right now. I would like to watch the documentary that Siege sent me, and I would like to get caught up on a couple of shows so that the next time we do this, maybe I'll be a little bit less of a Notaku.
Well, and maybe you could watch one of the anime. There's one that's called Daughters of Mnemosyne. Mnemosyne as in the Greek memory. At least I believe that's what it is. And it's this strange combination of like horror, supernatural, and then in later episodes like cyberpunk almost. And there's a whole lot of sexy sex times happening.
Well, yeah. You know how I
need to watch this then.
But it also just has like a fascinating mythology to it, and it's
because everybody was recommending. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and this is again me being. Well, this is why we do the podcast, because we're both very opinionated people. But
true story.
You know, everybody was recommending Devilman Crybaby to me. And, I mean, like, I had probably 10 different recommendations of people saying, you have to watch Devilman Crybaby, you have to watch Devilman Crybaby. And I did. I watched the first episode of Devilman Crybaby. And it was so hypersexualized. And the way that I've been feeling with my entertainment media lately, of course, I have absolutely no problem with sexuality at all. At all, I have no problem with it. I'm a human, you know what I mean? Yep. It's a part of life. And of course, we were talking about like the trash shows, or you know, earlier that we really love, and like the trashy vampire wolf romance. But for me, the older I get, the less sex I need in my media. You know, it's just true. The less sex I need. The older I get, the less I need to see it. I'm like, okay,
I want to go back after this and take an audio clipping of you saying that. Like it sounds like something that could be remixed into this like super amazing
auto-tuned
auto-tuned gloriousness that I could just send to every movie company.
But I mean, it's true, you know, and again, I don't mean that I have a problem in any way with sex or that I need it less in my life. I just need it less in my shows. I need less sex in my shows, man. I need it. And when I watched Devilman Crybaby, I was like, I cannot watch another close-up of this dude's insanely huge animated package. Like, I don't need this. Why do I need to see her masturbating on her bed? Why? Like, how is this in any way relevant to the story? And the older I get, the more I ask that question when it comes to sex in my entertainment media, where it's like, is this relevant or is it gratuitous? And I'm finding it to be more and more gratuitous. So I would just say, for me personally, for whatever reason, the less sexualized anime, the better for me right now. Because I think I just need a little bit of story and a little bit less sex in my stories lately. You know, I don't know why. Right. It's the same thing with like coupling in movies and stuff like that. Like, I'm tired of it. I don't need to ship everyone and everything I see. But again, that's just me.
Well,
Molly, I shipped you and John.
You did ship me and John. I shipped me and John.
But there are one or two sexy moments that happen in the show, but don't worry, I'll protect you.
I don't mind one or two. It's just, did you see Devilman Crybaby? Did you see the first episode of that show? There's so much sex in that show.
Which show?
Devilman Crybaby.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, Devilman is actually a remake of an 80s anime.
Yeah. Right, which I've heard, and I've heard that the original Devilman is much better.
Yes,
which I would like to try that, yeah.
The original is always better.
Maybe it just all comes down to the Spock and Uhura thing, man. I think that's what it all comes down to.
I like the animation quality of the original better. I'm not really a fan of the animation of the new series.
Yeah, which is sad, because I have heard that the original Devilman is great, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry for my weird bitterness about that kind of stuff. We were talking about it yesterday, and I think the more I examine it, the more I understand that I think J.J. Abrams just completely killed my brain with the whole shipping of Spock and Uhura thing, and I've never gotten over it. And I think it's just kind of, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, where I was like, do we really need to sexualize Spock? Do we need to? Because I don't think we do. It traumatized me, man, and I've never gotten over it. So anyway, so if there are any anime series that you would like to recommend to me, I would absolutely be so happy to try watching them. But if they are super hypersexualized, it's possible that my stupid bitter brain might be a little weird about them right now.
Yeah, no, there are plenty of anime out there that don't have a ridiculous amount of hypersexualization, and even ones without a whole lot of fan service. Like, I have seen a few anime that fan service is entirely absent. I know it sounds crazy. Siege, are there any final thoughts you would like to leave us with?
I was gonna ask recommendations for the audience. What's your recommendations for anime series to watch?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or just in general.
Well, I know we're asking the audience, but to give them a moment.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've probably mentioned the ones that I would recommend. I highly recommend watching Tenchi Muyo because it has a very self-aware meta-ness to it, in that it acknowledges a lot of the kind of ridiculous anime tropes. I mean, the whole premise of it is women falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And so it very much is a harem anime, but it makes fun of a lot of those tropes. I can't remember if it's Azumanga Daioh, or there's one anime out there that's like kind of slice of life, but every single episode they do the episode like in the style of a different genre of anime, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. I think it's something similar to Azumanga Daioh. Cat, Fab, what is it? What's going on?
No, that's true media. I completely agree with you. And that's where I was saying that it was originating for me. And again, I want to make sure that I stipulate that I am not an asexual person, and I am in favor of sexuality, and I think it's very healthy and awesome, but I feel like we are sexually obsessed especially in entertainment media, and I feel that it can distract from a lot of other things that could possibly enlighten and enhance our lives.
I was like, I was talking to Kat about this the other day. Like, that's the reason why I don't watch like the overly gory animes, like Blood Sea or Dead Man Wonderland, is because you masquerade, the story when you do like stuff like that.
Right,
like,
and I get that.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about next week, too.
Yeah.
Horror movies next week. But no, I completely get what you're saying. Please continue.
Yeah. No, that's basically it.
It is human. You're right, Fab. It is human. Yeah. It's just an aspect of our sort of global culture that has just begun to bother me the older that I get, where I'm just like, and I do it. I mean, how many times a day do I tell people that David is like the sexiest creature on the planet? I do it. I hypersexualize characters in Dead by Daylight all the time. But I don't know. It's because I'm human, and so I'm going to do it. But I don't know. I get really tired of it. And with anime, it's been a problem because I've seen it so much. But I have been introduced to some really fantastic anime lately that has a completely different kind of depth and a completely different kind of story. And so I'm always hungry for more of that, personally.
Hungry for more. I found the one that I was talking about where the genre changed in nearly every episode, and I can't believe that I forgot the name of it. Excel Saga. Excel Saga is
Saga.
Definitely a recommendation on my part. And of course there are, stupid sex jokes all over the place, but
the last episode is called Gone Too Far.
Exactly. The whole premise of it is just hysterical. This one girl like serving I can't remember whether it's a villain or a criminal or a monster or whatever, or some, you know, alien race that's about to take over humanity. If you remember, please tell me, Siege.
Yeah.
But she, like, has dedicated her life to this cause, and she, like, very nearly kills herself or possibly dies every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's serving as a minion to the mysterious Lord Il Palazzo. Oh my god, Lord Il Palazzo! I can't believe I forgot. And it's a subversive yet ineffective fascist organization.
Yeah.
And almost every episode they kind of take on a new anime genre, so it kind of has that self-aware thing going on, and I love that in just about any show.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I like the sound of that.
So let's see. Excel Saga, Tenchi Muyo. I think the early days of Inuyasha are worth watching. After a while, it starts to get, like, way too repetitive, and it's just like, oh my god.
Like, how many more pieces of jewelry do you need? Like, how many more pieces, or how many more shards do you need? With Inuyasha
is interesting to watch for the noir aspect to it.
You might like that, Molly, Big O.
Yeah, like it's one of those things, like, you love everything and, like, oh, it's time for the obligatory robot moment in the episode.
I like robot moments. Molly's midstream rant, yes, that can always be counted upon for those.
ranting, midstream rant.
But yes, I love robot moments.
And also Inuyasha also I was gonna say, I know this is backtracking, but Inuyasha also has that historical aspect to it, so you get kind of the look into feudal Japan. Same thing with Rurouni Kenshin and Samurai Champloo, although Samurai Champloo has, like, a little bit of a modern edge to it in places. Like,
it's a hip hop feudal, and Rurouni Kenshin
thing going on.
Yep, yeah, and Rurouni Kenshin was actually taking place in the Bakumatsu period.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm definitely going to have to actually, like, write down a lot of these. I'm going to have to go back and write some of these down, because they all sound really great. And once we get through the shows that we're getting through, I think I want to just kind of go on an anime kick. Maybe that'll be my goal for the summer, is to watch, like, as many anime series as possible. I may come out of that with some really weird new personality traits. I don't know what that would do to me, but I think I'm going to try to, like, hyper consume some anime this summer.
We're going to turn Molly to a weeaboo.
Because, heaven willing, I will be done with school stuff. And actually, that's another good kind of end of stream thing.
So Molly, next time I see you, you're going to be a Genji main, aren't you?
Shut your mouth. That will never happen. You just watch it. I would be a Bastion main before I was a Genji main.
Loves human, and
speaking of hypersexualization, isn't Hanzo, like, super hot? Hanzo's really hot. But yeah.
Oh dear me.
But what were you saying, Kat? I'm sorry. You were talking about school and
stuff. Now that we're getting real close to the end here for me for university, for my bachelor's in final.
Yay!
Yay! I'm so ready to be done. Like, I could stay in school forever, but I need a fucking break. After May, Molly and I think will be able to have a little bit more time to spend together, if she'll have me. And I think that will be an interesting time for developments in the podcast. It will also be a time where I'll get to start streaming more content. I'm actually, Siege and Molly, I blame both of you for this, I may actually live stream some gameplay. Like, nothing popular.
Yes.
Current. I'll be doing, like, the Inuyasha Secret of the Cursed Mask.
I have that game on PS2.
Oh my god, isn't it great? I love it so much. It's so much
That is
fun.
so exciting, though, Kat. I really hope you start streaming gameplay. That would be
Final Fantasy, but it's Inuyasha. It's so good.
I would also really like to see, by the way, Kat, again, I realize that this is a very ironic... well, yeah, Barbie Ocean Discovery. You definitely need to play that.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Like, hell yes to the 10th degree. But no, one thing that I would really like to see you play personally, and I realize this is a huge ironic twist from what I was just talking about, but I would like to see you try some softcore dating sims, like the Japanese dating sims.
Yes.
I think that you would be so entertaining playing those. Like,
I love them so much, though. Like, they're so like weirdly cheesy, but I love them so much.
I know. I could watch you play them forever.
Goodness.
You know, they're wildly entertaining to me.
That is a good idea. I know. So softcore Japanese dating sims. If I get any of the hardcore ones, I will like come up with interesting cutscene replacements, maybe. With,
also,
like, paper stick figure puppets.
Yeah. Also, Media had a really interesting suggestion for a future stream: robots and artificial intelligence.
Oh.
I think that would be a really cool subject for a future podcast. Like really, because I mean, it is something that we both love in our own way. Which that's all the criteria that we have here on this podcast is the thing that we talk about. We have to love it in some way, you know.
Gundams.
I was gonna say, are we talking about real robots and artificial intelligence? Are we talking? I'm sure that at some point I will go on like a futuristic cyberpunk-esque kick of movies and anime and various other kinds of media, and that's probably what would spur that podcast.
Yeah,
Ghost in the Shell.
I mean, everything we talk about, you know, it's something that we nerd out over about, something that we see and we squee. Can we keep it?
Mm-hmm. Which reminds me, as a little segue, real quick.
We get into real world topics as well. I mean, what we talked about lesbian erasure and the over sexualization of media, not Ellen media, but the media that we consume as viewers.
Yes, not Ellen, not the hypersexualization of Ellen media. No,
hey, Swervy, we're just wrapping up here, but we'd love to hear your anime recommendations if you want. Molly, what were you going to have a side note about?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, as a segue, talking about things that we like to nerd out about, next week, which I don't think that I've actually talked to Kat about this, so I hope she's okay with the sudden drop. Yeah, we did this, I think it was our very first podcast that we did when we were still doing these from the Playroom on PSN. Next week, the next Kooky podcast topic, as long as Kat will go along with it with me, will be horror movies. We're just going to talk about horror movies all night next Thursday, and I'm very excited about this. Yay! So that's, and we'll be streaming that from my channel. I know, I am too. I've wanted to have this conversation again since our first one, especially because our first one was, like I said, we used to do these podcasts from the Playroom.
And everyone was so excited about all your horror movie posters.
They were, which nobody will get to see in the next one because we're not doing it from the Playroom anymore. But
we can fix that. Since I will be back in town, I will take pictures and we can use them as overlays in OBS.
Yay! That'll be great. So I'm excited about that. I really am, and especially because we could still carry over from this conversation, and it could be a precursor to a robots and artificial intelligence conversation, because both of those things, both anime and robots.
Isn't it wonderful how we have so many things that we enjoy and they can flow into one another and out again in this never-ending blissfulness of conversation, which
absolutely.
Is our relationship.
And this is why I love Thursdays so much. I'm so glad that we did this, and thank you for teaching me so much, because there were I learned a lot throughout the course of this particular podcast, and I was very excited. I'm sorry that I wasn't as talkative as I normally am, but it's very much been a sort of sitting back and letting Siege and you and Siege just do your thing, and it's been really educational. So thank you for that.
Don't worry, we'll make a weave out of you yet, Molly.
Yeah, I think actually, Xerxes, that was going to be the next thing that I said. I do think that I am going to try my absolute damnedest to have John on as a special guest next week for the horror conversation, because very few people know as much about horror as John.
Speaking of giant robots, recommendation right here for you, Molly.
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann.
Gurren Lagann?
Lagann.
Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, remember how I always tell you just believe in you, that believe in me, that
believes in you.
Yeah. Yes. That is actually the line where I got it from.
Oh, nice.
Show. So
nice. Okay, well, I would love to. Okay, Gurren Lagann, and then
it's on Netflix.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. Swerby also recommended One Punch Man, which I have also heard a lot of things about, but have never seen.
It is a superhero trope anime.
Oh, okay.
But that's the name of a show. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like My Hero Academia too, because that one is actually a perfect combination of Western style manga or Eastern style manga and Western style comic. Is like molded into one. The mangaka, the writer of the series, is actually heavily influenced the main character and based him off of Spider-Man.
Oh, right on. Well, that's cool. Well, I'll have to check that one out too. And
like if you guys ever want to watch it, like you have my Crunchyroll/Ver account, so you're gonna always have resources.
Yeah.
My Hero Academia Nuts, Air Striker.
Yep. My Hero Academia Nuts. That's a show I would watch too.
We appreciate the puns.
Yes, we do.
Well, Siege, thank you so much for being our special guest this week.
Thank you for having me.
Our anime specialist.
Fantastic. And Molly, as always, even if you are the Notaku now, I will be the Notaku next week, where I am an appreciator but not an expert on the subject at hand. And that's why I love that we do this, and that we get to choose between our channels every week.
Well, we get to learn too, and that's why we talk.
I would also like to say that I know almost all of you who are in the chat right now came from Molly's channel, and I really, really, really appreciate you guys coming over and taking the time to stop by my channel when we do episodes over here. If you haven't already liked this video, I would love it if you would slaughter the like demons, as we are wont to say. And,
I love that when Demons isn't even here, the like slaughter is a thing. That makes me very happy.
Even though I don't do daily or even weekly content at the moment, because again, school, that'll change in May. But for now, it's occasional content. If you would like to subscribe or check out some of my other videos, I would love to hear your comments on them. And I hope you enjoy the silliness that ensues in all of them. And I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for Saturday when I come home. And
I know, I am
when I'll physically
I can't wait.
See you with my eyeballs, Molly, but I can't wait.
I can't either. I miss you so much.
I'll miss you, Kat.
I know we're only several hundred miles apart, but I'll miss you. And on Saturday we will be, I think it's like 1,200 miles away. Maybe?
Yeah.
Something like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't even gotten to go to Daiso since I've been here.
Boo.
Oh, for shame, Kat. For shame.
Am I gonna have to go and get you guys another package?
Well,
yes.
I almost feel like. Actually, I'll see what I can scrape together. I may have to get you a little Daiso package, Siege, and send it to you. But I want
you deserve the package.
Back in Omaha, so that it can have the post, or what do they call it? The postmark, that says it came out of Omaha.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have to do it. I do it because I want to.
Shh. We want to send you free things. Don't take it away from us.
I'm going to send some back to you. I do what I want. Shut up and take my package.
We were just talking about the hypersexualization of the human race.
What did we just
Don't tell me what to do with your package. All right.
I'll tell you what.
I've had so much fun today, guys.
Fine, I'll accept your box.
Oh, Siege.
I love you guys so much. All of you in chat, Siege, Molly.
Bye.
Have been
yes, this has been great.
And
thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight.
Make sure to tune in next week to Can We Keep It, the QQ podcast with Mad Hat Cat and Mollancholy over on Mollancholy's channel, where we will be talking about horror movies.
That was my
same Mallcat time, different Mallcat channel.
And thanks again for joining us, Siege.
The folks who are watching from the UK or further, thank you so much for staying up late with us. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. And we will talk to you next time. Have a lovely evening, everybody.
All right. It's okay. Bye, Aaron. Bye, Fab. Bye, Media. Bye, Matt.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See ya later.
Peace, love, live long and prosper.
Peace.